Thank you.
Exactly. Office.
All right, let's go ahead and call a meeting to order.
Don't get up. Don't get up.
Listen, all this ammunition back here you surrounded with. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. That's the money man.
Is that what he is?
All right.
Okay.
Does everyone have a copy of the minutes from our last meeting? Yeah. Have you had a chance to review it?
I move we approve the report.
There's a motion to approve the minutes printed. Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have a treasurer's report?
Thank you. And I hope you can hear me with all those chatterboxes back there. The building has $186,612.47. State has $74.23. Oops, sorry. Judicial has $728 and a penny. Restricted has $481.60, and political has $70,210.04.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to approve.
Is there a motion to approve? Second. Is there any discussion? Here. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Our business today, we have several things that we wanted to get to. First of all, since our last meeting, as you know, Willis Blackshear passed away on February 19th. As such, we have to, as a party, have to appoint someone within 45 days. I think right now we're right at like 32 or 33, so we're going to have to make an appointment tonight to replace him permanently. Right now, there's a temporary replacement, Deborah Harden, currently serving as a temporary replacement. She did not want to have the job permanently, so we have Brandon McLean, who you'll hear from at the Central Committee, has sought the appointment, and we met as a screen committee. He's the only person that contacted us to actually seek the appointment. Brandon is a young man who is currently serves as on the Dayton Municipal Court as a magistrate. He had been with the Montgomery County Public Defenders and also was in private practice. Before that, he's a veteran of the United States Army, and there was a recommendation of the screening committee that Brandon McLean will be appointed to fill the vacancy of the Montgomery County Recorder.
I so move. Second.
There's a motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So we actually have to have two motions because of the vacancy came up after the filing deadline. Both parties have the opportunity to place somebody on the ballot. They have to do so within 86 days before the general election. So we're within that time, obviously. So again, it was a recommendation of the screening committee that Brandon McLean be placed on the ballot to run in the November election for the recorder seat.
So moved.
Motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Just again, much like Ross's Joseph in the for the clerk of court's office, since this is a term that he was just elected to in 16, they have to have an election, and we have to have an election in November to fill the remainder of the 2 years. So, assuming he wins, then he has to run again in 2020. So it's very much like the clerk of court's office. So we're on that. On ballot issue 1, that is the congressional redistricting measure. That is the compromise that was passed by the House and Senate, the Ohio legislature earlier this year. After much compromise, I know there was a group that was trying to place language on the ballot in November, and they worked finally with the legislature, and they came up with language that was acceptable to the group. A number of people, the League of Women Voters, I think Common Cause was involved, among others, and that'll be on the ballot May 8th to approve that. It's very much a system that's very similar to what the voters approved in 2015 regarding the Ohio legislative seats, and it was a recommendation of the screening committee that we endorse issue number 1. Carolyn Rice moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Then we have some seats in our legislature districts. Ohio Senate District 5. Paul Bradley was filed, and he's the only person that's filed to run for the Health Senate, Ohio Senate District 5. And it was the recommendation of the screening committee that all be endorsed for that seat.
So moved. Second motion.
Second by Joseph. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. House District 39, we have a Fred Strayhorn is the incumbent there. He is he could only run this. He'll be term limited after this coming term. He's had 3 terms. He can only run one more time. He's also, as many of you know, he is the House Minority Leader. There is another person, a gentleman by the name of Walter Hickman, that screened as well for the seat. Mr. Hickman did not screen well, to say the least, and it was the recommendation of the screening committee that Fred Strayhorn be endorsed for the 39th House. Motion by Carolyn Rice, second by David Sapphire. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Bart, I don't think we should be in the practice of endorsing candidates in primaries. I can say 2 words for you: Ed Fitzgerald. I don't like the practice. I don't believe it's the practice of the party. Our job should be to elect Democrats, whoever they may be. We need to get as deep a bench as possible. We need to have people have access to the ballot, and we need to try to get the best people to run every time. That's my position. I don't think it does us any favors. Our job is to elect Democrats, not the Democrats 40 people in a room choose. That's up to the people. That's why we have primaries.
I think that this committee has had a history of endorsing candidates that we feel are best to be on the ballot. And the voters have the opportunity to go to the polls and vote for those people. I think that Fred's got a proven track record, and I think that we should move forward and make the endorsement.
All right. Is there there's a motion second moved? Is there all in favor, signify by saying aye? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
House District 41, John McManus, who was on the Dayton School Board, has filed. He's the only person that has filed. There's a recommendation of the screening committee, and that John McManus be endorsed for the seat in the House.
So moved. John McManus.
second. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? House District 43, Dan Foley has filed for election in the House District 43, and I believe he's the only person who's filed a primary. And it was a recommendation of the screening committee that Dan Foley be endorsed by the.
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any other?
You skipped the 42nd.
We did not screen in that. No one requested a screen. There are 2 people running, no one requested a screen. There's a motion on the floor. All in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? In the Montgomery County Commission, Carolyn Rice has filed to she's our current county treasurer and has filed to run in that seat. There was one other person, Don Schaefer, who filed in that seat as well. We screened Don, who was basically said that he's not going to do any real campaigning, not going to raise money, and did tell us he likes to dress up as Ben Franklin. So it was a recommendation of the screening committee that Carolyn Rice receive the endorsement of the Democratic Party.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Exact same thing. I think we should try to encourage Democrats to run for every seat possible. I do not think we need to endorse. I think Carolyn's record stands for itself, and we shouldn't have to spoon feed people. Voters should be able to go out and investigate and figure things out for themselves.
But they don't.
All right.
Well, then we should do a better job of educating them. That's our role.
Motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right.
Nay.
State and City Commission. This one is not for a primary. It is for the actual elections. Whoever wins this election will be seated. We interviewed 2 people, Reverend Darrell Ward and Reverend Darrell Fairchild. After much discussion, there was a recommendation of the screening committee that Darrell Ward be endorsed by the party. Is there
Move to endorse their award. Second.
any motion and a second? Is there any discussion on the motion?
I strongly believe we shouldn't endorse in this particular race because Darrell Fairchild is a Democrat who's been an active member of this party, has been involved in this party for years, whereas Darrell Ward has barely been anything other than a ghost. I think we do ourselves a disfavor to align ourselves with a candidate who seems opportunistic and who has not run for the seat before, when we've got a candidate who's run before and even followed the party's advice to not run in promise of being run the next time, which we reneged on. I think Darrell Fairchild is a great candidate. You might think Darrell Ward is a great candidate, but I think the practice of endorsing in between picking favorites here does not do the party well. I didn't like it when Bernie wasn't picked and Hilary was. I didn't like
Well, first of all, let me.
all these things. I think we don't do this.
Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, neither one was endorsed. They had an open primary. The state party did not endorse. This local party did not endorse. You've said this before. I just want to set the record straight. When Bernie Sanders came in, they were invited down to our headquarters. They had use of our headquarters. They had use of our list that they needed and wanted. They had use of our telephone system that they used. So to sit there and tell us, time and time again, David, that they were...
Our national party did everything they could to undermine them, and I don't agree.
About locally. You're talking about locally. I just want to set the record straight.
Okay, so I don't think it does us any good to endorse one Democrat over another in an election.
Mr. Owens, I think this committee has a responsibility to allow folks to be screened, to make a recommendation to a party and make a recommendation to our community. I think that Reverend Ward has been anything but a ghost. I think that issues in the past, dealing with Darrell Fairchild is in the past. I don't think that we need to rehear it or rehash it at every meeting that we have. But I certainly believe that Reverend Ward will do an excellent job on that city commission. He's got a history of working in the community. Here's a guy that's been on the ground, out in the community, working with folks in the community in a lot of different ways. And I think that it is our responsibility to move forward with the endorsement.
Call the question.
Call. Saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
And then finally, we screened in the Ohio Congressional District 10. We screened 3 candidates: Robert Klinger, Tuckinger, Mike Millicents, and Teresa Basper. We had quite a bit of discussion about this race. Candidates that we had were very forthcoming. They had some very much on the issues. And after much discussion, there was a recommendation of the screening committee that we could have a consensus on who to endorse. So we, at this time, would recommend no endorsement.
Second motion.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're going to skip any club reports. We do have a special guest. I don't know if he's here yet. Okay. Zach Space, who is running for the state auditor, which is really an important, even under the new proposed issue 1. They still have the governor, the auditor, and the secretary of state will serve on the committee that draws the lines. So he does have a very important role to play if he is elected, and we hope that he will be. But he will be giving us, talking to us here tonight. As a reminder, our Fraud for Funds comes up on April 3rd. We have tickets still available. They're going fast though. We do have as our speaker the mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu. Those that know him, he has a new book out, by the way, talking about his experience. He was one of the, I believe, the first Southern mayor that moved to tear down the statues of Confederate soldiers, and I think he's probably going to talk a little bit about that, and the book is about that. His term limited out. He's currently the president of the National League of Cities, I believe is what it is. Is that correct, Matt?
That sounds right.
And I think he'll be a really good speaker. And we hope you'll all show up to the hearing. Is there anybody else that has any other announcements? All right. Is there any other business? Any other old business? Tina.
I just encourage everybody to get the word out about issue 1 because there's no real money, and I think a lot of people are confused. And it's important that we get the word out.
Anything else? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Debatable motion.
Get started.
What's your story in 15 seconds?
All right, let's come forward so we can start this meeting. Come on.
Nice to have somebody with some brains.
I'm going to ask John McManus to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. John, everyone will stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Since we last met, most of you know that we lost our county recorder, Willis Blackshear. Willis obviously was a well-loved person in the Montgomery County Democratic Party. He was active since I knew him first, 1984, so I think when I first met him. And he was a tremendous recorder and just a tremendous leader of and a mentor for a lot of young people here in Montgomery County. And I just want to make sure we remember him. But there was also somebody else that we lost here in the last week, a gentleman who was on our central committee. His name is Al Freeman. Many of you here know him, some of you do not. Al was I'm going to have Tom Richard come up a little bit here and talk a little bit about it. But Al was a labor leader. He was a mentor to youth. He was a youth coach for many, many years. He helped do the Little League Baseball here in Montgomery County. And he was just, again, just a tremendous leader and a mentor in our community. Tom, where are you at?
I don't have to come up, Mark, I can just from here. I think Mark's covered a lot of it, but, you know, here's a guy who was one of the first members of this community that helped form the Young Concerned Christian Men. And when they were taking the playgrounds away from the children in the housing projects, where a lot of people don't know where that's at, but for the folks who do, you know, those children had nowhere else to go and play. And 100 of those young concerned Christian men marched into the housing projects in this city and took back those projects to give those kids a safe place to play. Just like he did when he was coaching and raising money for our ball teams, for the youth. You know, Al dedicated his life. He was one of the first people to be a party of a suit to close down crack houses. Now let me tell you, that didn't come without problems. They threatened Al's family. They threatened Al's life. They rocked his car. They busted the windows in his home, and that never turned him back. Al served on our city committee, our civil service board appointed by the city commission. No job too small or too big for this man. Now, Al has always been there. Any elected official that ever needed help, if you stepped up to the plate, he was at the plate with you. Al's family needs us now. The services is tomorrow at Corinthian. Shirley and that family needs prayer. I spent the afternoon with them at the family viewing at the funeral home this afternoon. And I got to tell you, Al looked great. Shirley's doing good. But Shirley's going to need us in the long haul. They've been in the community where they live now on Everett Drive for over 50 years. And there's a lot of people in this room know Al Freeman better than I. But I got to tell you, for 45 years, him and John R. Smith has been great advisors to us in the labor movement to try to make sure that we got to get out to vote, practice downright. They always worked hard. You know, Al has been a leader. And, you know, I don't think that we'll get anything closed or a national holiday for Al, but they should be. But we've got to remember, he's always been active in this party. He's a central committee member. He served on screening committees. I know that the former chair and the current chair has worked with. I talked to Mayor Whalen, and the day that Al passed away, Nan was on the phone with Al, and they were talking about business of this city, and Al always answered the call, right up until the day that day when he passed away. So I'd ask you that you honor Al with a moment of silence, but for those who have the ability, and certainly our elected officials, should be there tomorrow to show their respects to Al, and I know a lot will go. And I'm going to do the qualifier right now. Unfortunately, I was told the services was Wednesday and Thursday, and I arranged to come in and arranged another meeting, so I've got to fly out early in the morning. But I hope that you folks can make the time to go give just a little bit back to Shirley Freeman and that family. Al's gone on to a better place, but Shirley and that family's here. So if you would, just a little bit of time, because there's a guy who loved this community and put his life on the line in this community a lot of times. And anybody that don't know what it meant going into those projects, it wasn't safe, but they did it for the kids. Just like they've done a lot of things, and Al and John R. led a lot of those movements. And a lot of things that they continued to do was based on requests from people in this room. So if you would, it's at Corinthian tomorrow. The family's going to receive friends at 10:30, and the services are at 11. Corinthian is at 700 South James H. McGee Boulevard, right there at 35. They got a nice big church and a big parking lot, and it won't hurt anybody to stand outside to get in to pay their respects to a man who has done a lot for this city and this county. Thanks, Mark.
And if we could, just a moment of silence both for Willis Blackshear and Alfred. All right, thank you. Our first order of business then is we have, since Will's passed away, we have to replace him as the county recorder. As such, we have one person who has come forward and asked for the appointment, and that is a young man by the name of Brandon McLean. Now, we screened him at the screening committee, and it was certainly the recommendation of the screening committee that Brandon be appointed to the Montgomery County Recorder's Office. Before we vote, I would like to just take a minute. Many of you know Brandon, but some of you do not. I'd ask Brandon to come up and give us a couple minutes about himself. Brandon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Just want to give you a little bit of information about me, who I am, and why I'm here. My name is Brandon Charles McLean. Currently, I'm a magistrate over at Dade Municipal Court, also serve as an acting judge there. Been in the community for nearly the last 10 years. Over my duration of time here in the community, I've not only encountered Willis and considered him to be a mentor, but also various other leaders in the community. He was always someone who was there and willing to tell you when you did good, and the same token, he'd tell you if you weren't doing so good either. And he would do it in his own way. And that's something that always stuck with me. It stuck with me as I went through my path, my journey, law student, practicing law here in the Miami Valley area. It stuck with me as a member of the judiciary over at Dade Municipal Court, and it will continue to stay with me. And I would urge each of us to allow it to stay with each one of you, because that same spirit that he has, we all should take with us on our daily tasks. And if we can do that, I know that we will have a better Montgomery County.
So the process is that you will vote tonight. You vote to appoint Brandon. He will become the Montgomery County Clerk of Court. Recorder. Sorry about that.
Sure, we'll just name him the court.
Sorry about that. Sorry, Ross. So he'll become the county recorder, and we also will have to have a second motion because the vacancy occurred after the filing deadline. We have to appoint somebody to the ballot. The recommendation of the screening committee that Brandon be appointed to the ballot as well. The Republicans will have the opportunity to appoint somebody. They have until 86 days prior to the election to do that, which falls somewhere end of August or early September. But is there a motion, first of all, to appoint Brandon?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. On the second motion to appoint Brandon to the ballot.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Motion by Jeff Mims, second by Carolyn Rice. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Grant, congratulations.
Thank you. Tonight, I am truly humbled and honored to be appointed your next Montgomery County recorder. My new role will not just be a job or a title, but rather it will be a calling. Since enlisting in the Army National Guard at the age of 17, I've continuously answered the call of public service. And public service is the same call that Willis D. Blackshear Sr. dedicated every fiber of his being to, for our citizens of this county and beyond. For each of us, Willis served as not only a leader and an advocate, but also a loyal supporter who will stand up beside you during your most toughest battles as long as you were doing what was right. He was truly a warrior for all people. For many of us, he was also a mentor. Now, when I say mentor, what I really mean is the type of person who would come and find you if you made a decision, particularly a stupid one, and he would tell you about yourself. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say mentor. And when he would do this, he would do it because he cared, and because he seen a horizon and a peak in your future that you couldn't even see for yourself. He was who he was. And for that, we should all be thankful. Last month on President's Day, our county lost a true champion of the people, a man of purposeful action, and a mentor to me. I was saddened by his passing, but I was also concerned about our county following his passing. I was concerned because of the void of leadership that would exist in his absence. He was that impactful to me, you, anybody that he touched. And that is when it dawned on me. You know, so often we try to use words with good intent to solve problems that are better left with purposeful action. Today, I'm asking each one of you to let tonight represent the first step of many toward your deliberate actions of saying no more. No more words with good intent that aren't backed up by deeds. No more sitting on your hands waiting for the change that you see. Take a stand for your fellow citizen, as Willis did, and as I continue to do. As a sergeant in the Army National Guard, a lawyer practicing in the Miami Valley area, or as a member of the Dayton Municipal Court Judiciary, I've continuously answered the call of my fellow citizen and made their needs a priority. That's not going to stop here tonight. I love our county. I love the citizens within it. And I will use the powers of my office to ensure that I stand beside each citizen in the same spirit Willis did, leaning on the strength of our biggest asset, sticking together. That is what we must do if we are going to be successful in November. I will always fight alongside each of you for what is right and fair for all people. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the people who helped me get here tonight. First, I want to thank God for giving me the strength and the guidance to see this through. My mother, who I lost in 2007 after a rough battle with lung cancer. Watching her live her last days, it showed me the true lessons of perseverance. I also like to thank the Blackshear family for their unwavering support and encouragement during an extremely difficult time. And to all of you, the Montgomery County Democratic Party, for entrusting such a responsibility in me. I will not let you down. And to those of you who I may have inadvertently missed, I say thank you. In closing, as your Montgomery County recorder, I will serve as an extension to the legacy of Willis E. Blackshear Sr. and stand alongside every citizen to fight for what is right and just. Nothing more can I promise, and nothing less should be accepted. I sincerely look forward to working with each of you so that together we can make a better Montgomery County for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Is Jan Underwood here tonight? Jan?
She was gonna come, but maybe later. She said she might be late.
All right, well, the reason I'd asked her, Jan has kind of been leading our efforts. She had been leading our effort to do end the gerrymandering here in Ohio, and has been pushing for the past year the petitions to get the an issue on the ballot. They were actually shooting for this November. Some 6 weeks ago or so, they had the Ohio legislature finally gotten around to working with the League of Women Voters, the Common Cause in Ohio, and among others, and did come up with a compromise that the people pushing the gerrymandering issue were satisfied with, and it's going to go on the ballot as issue number 1. It pertains to the redistricting of congressional districts. It is very similar to what happened with the way they did in 2015, the Ohio legislative districts. And it was a recommendation of the screening committee that the Montgomery County Democratic Party endorse issue 1 on the ballot. Is there a motion to endorse issue 1? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. And if Jan comes later on, she can say something about it, but it has been endorsed. I was told there is a dark Mercury Sable with the license CKR 433 that's parked out here. That's kind of making it hard for people to get through. If you might move that to a parking spot further on down, it'd be helpful. So it's again Mercury Sable CKR 433. All right. We also had other issues on for the screening committee this week. First of all, in Ohio Senate District number 5, we have Paul Bradley, who's filed for that. Who's the only person to file? Paul, where are you at? Right here. Paul, why don't you come? Paul, it was a recommendation of the screening committee that Paul Bradley receive the endorsement of the Democratic Party for the Senate District 5. Is there a motion to accept that? Motion to second. All in favor? Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Paul, you want to say it?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi. Good evening.
You know, we're going through a lot of endorsement processes right now, filling out a lot of forms and meeting with a lot of people, and they're all impactful and they all mean something. And I'm a Democrat and I'm a progressive, but more so than that, I'm a Montgomery County Democrat. And this endorsement from all of you and from this party here locally means the world to me. I cut my teeth in this party as a young Dem with Jen and Mohammed and Wills Jr. and Marty and all these guys, and it's been great to see this next generation of young Democrats take a lead. And I've been mentored by I won't be able to name them all, but you know, Tom and Diane and Debbie and Nan and Mark and Carl and so many other people in this party that if it wasn't for all those people, for all of you, I would not be in this position to run here today. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for this endorsement. And I promise you that I will work tirelessly to win this district, because it is a district we need to win. It's a district we have to win. And it is, to me, the single most up for grabs district, Senate district in all of Ohio. And that's from everybody in Ohio who's looking at this politically. It's about 49.6 DPI Democrat, and that means that if we turn out and we do everything we do, we don't need that 20-point swing that Connor Lamb got in Pennsylvania. We need a few points, and we can make this happen. And as many of you know, I worked for about 6.5 years for Senator Sherrod Brown, and there's something very distinct about him, and it's his voice. And somebody asked me today, is his voice always like that, or is he a big smoker, or what's going on with that? And so I've been doing my call time about 15 hours a week, and I'm starting to lose my voice. It's occurred to me that it's probably just him, because he's tirelessly always speaking out for people, always speaking up for people, always fighting for people. And I just think that's the way his voice is. It's always going to be harsh because it's always being loud, and it's always being vocal, it's always being there to protect people. And I plan on doing the same thing. I hope I don't turn out with the same voice that he has. But I promise my friends in labor here, my union friends here, that I will always not just support your issues, but I will champion your issues. And I will fight everything tooth and nail in Columbus that's taking funds away from our local communities. We need to support our local community in our effort in the opioid epidemic. We need to focus on workforce development. All these things that we do well here in Montgomery County, we need to do well in Columbus too. And whether it's myself or John McManus or any one of our other state rep candidates, and we have a lot of good ones. And for people who don't know, the reason we're going to win this year is that we have a candidate in every single House district in Ohio, in every single Senate district in Ohio. This means that we're making them compete in every single district, and they're going to fight for their lives, and they're not going to win. And we're going to give Fred Strayhorn, who I see in the back there, we're going to give him some help in Columbus from this district so that he can be a stronger voice and not undeniable. I am losing my voice, so I'll just end with this as, again, a solemn promise that I promise to work tirelessly, to work with every single one of you. And if you haven't gotten a phone call from me already, you probably have a voicemail, so check your phones. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And it is probably, if it's not the top, it's the second most targeted Senate race here in Ohio. So I think we have a real good shot. House District 39, we had our three-term House of Representatives and leader, and the current minority leader in the House of Representatives, Fred Strayhorn. Fred, where you at? We didn't put him on the candidate, but it was the recommendation of the screening committee that Fred Strayhorn received the endorsement of the Montgomery County Democratic Party for the 39th House District. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mark, same statement over and over. I don't think we should be endorsing in primaries. I think the party's job is to elect Democrats, not chosen Democrats. I think it's up to the party at large, and it's our job to inform the people who the candidates are and let the people decide, not 40 people in a smoke-filled room. Thank you.
I don't know where the smoke's at, just where we feel it all right. You know, the folks in the community elect us to make recommendations and to push out so that we elect good Democrats. And I think that we have an obligation as an elected body to follow through with recommendations and make sure that we're electing good, solid Democrats.
I don't recall ever voting on who was on the screening committee.
It isn't in the Constitution. Have you read it?
So, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Fred, did you want to say anything?
I will do it from back here, but thank you and thank everybody. It's a little ominous trying to follow that super radio voice of Brandon's. In instances like this, Carl Keith always says less is more. But I really wanted to be here tonight as I approach the last term before I am termed out of the House, merely to just say thank you. Thank you for all the support over the years. It means a lot to me because the endorsement is about the confidence and trust that you have in me to represent the 39th House District. And I want to say, both these last 3 terms and the first 5 terms, it has been an absolute honor to represent the 39th House District and the people of Montgomery County. So thank you for the endorsement so much.
In the 41st House District, John McManus has you can stand up, John, has filed in that district. He's the only person that filed. That takes up part of Dayton, almost Old Kettering, and Riverside, so Oakwood. So he is he's filed there. It was a recommendation of the screening committee that John McManus received the endorsement in the 41st House District.
Second.
Right. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? John, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I hope you don't mind if I move this up a little bit. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much. It's my tremendous honor to receive this endorsement. My name is John McManus. I'm the current Vice President of the Dayton Board of Education, entering my 3rd year of a 4-year term, and I'm just so excited. This was not something I expected to do, but after a lot of encouragement from a lot of friends, I said I will answer the call, and here we are, and I'm just so excited. And I want to thank each and every one of you here in this room, and party leadership, and especially my friends in organized labor. I would not be a member of the school board without you, without each of you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been the opportunity of a lifetime. I also want to thank Rachel Magdalene. Rachel, she and I were about to go head-to-head in the primary together, and she did something very selfless. And she dropped out to work for me, and she is working so hard. She's so organized. And I want to tell you a story, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. I'll make it as brief as an Irishman can. But I was having a great conversation with Rachel the other day. And, we've got to be good friends real fast. And she said, John, tell me a little bit about why you're in public service. And I was telling her about the campaign trail and everything else. And she goes, no, before that, go back to your childhood. And one story came to mind, and I want to share it with you today, about my philosophy for public service and why I'm in this, and why I think maybe we're all in this. I was a child, and I pulled up to a gas station with my parents. I saw a couple, and this couple was near the tall grass. It was a young man, young lady, and they were distraught. And I was a child, and I ran up to the couple, and I said, what's wrong? And apparently a kitten, maybe their kitten, had run into the tall grass. And since I was a child, the vulnerable, for me, have always been in my heart. And even as a kid, I said, I'm going to go find that kid. I'm going to go do something. Because that little kid is probably scared, it's alone, it's nervous. And there I went into the tall grass, and covered in mud, and covered in water, and cut by the brambles, and probably climbed over a few snakes. And I never found the kid, right? I was heartbroken, I regretted it. But that was my child's heart, right? That was my desire to go do something for the vulnerable, for the suffering, for the scared. And it has sustained me throughout public service, and that's what public service is. And even on the school board, I'll tell you, I don't always win the battles I want to, but I fight like hell for something I believe in. And that's the mission we all have, is to go into the woods and go into the tall grass and face that mud and that water and those snakes and the brambles and get cut up and wet and frustrated. And even if we don't win the battle that we want to there in the arena, the fact of the matter is that we tried. The fact of the matter is that we tried. And so many in Columbus are not fighting for the vulnerable. There are so many people up there who are suffering all throughout our state, and you've got a majority in Columbus who is more focused on getting their A rating from the NRA or the Chamber of Commerce and dropping bills in subcommittee, and all of the vulnerable out there in our state who are suffering every single day are hurting, and they need advocates. And so I can't wait to go to Columbus and speak up for people with disabilities and the elderly, people suffering with mental illness, the poor, the suffering, the abused, the neglected. I can't wait. And so I'm going to work twice as hard as I worked to get elected to the Board of Education, and you all know how hard that was. And I'm so excited and I'm so deeply appreciative, Mr. Chairman, and everybody. Thank you so much, and God bless you. See y'all later.
Thank you, John. In the House District 43, we screened Dan Foley. Dan, stand up if you would. I know you're here. Dan is here. And there was a recommendation of the screening committee that Dan Foley receive the endorsement of Ohio for the Montgomery County Democratic Party. Is there a motion to accept that?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dan, did you want to say anything?
I just want to say, was anybody here in 1999? If you raise your hand. So Fred and I, in 1999, both went for the 39th district. That was the number at the time when Tom Roberts was leaving. And I've always had an interest in this seat. And both Fred and I, Fred, thankfully for the party, because he's done such a great job in Columbus, won that. I wanted it then, but I went on to serve in the county clerk of courts and also the county commission for the last 12 years, and it's been wonderful for me. But Fred came to me last year and we started talking about this, and I just want to say that I'm really thankful for the party, for your support and the job that I've had. I've learned a lot, but I want to go, just like John said, I want to go to Columbus and really advocate for democratic policies. Like Paul said, this is a winnable district. It's a 5150 DPI. I think with a lot of great work, we're going to have a new state senator in the 5th district. We're going to have folks like John McManus and Zach Dickerson, and certainly all the folks who are running for the State House. I just want to say thanks for your support and the jobs that I've had in the county, and I'm going to work very hard to be your next House member in the 43rd district. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
We also screened for the Montgomery County Commissioner. We screened Carolyn Rice. Carolyn is our county treasurer and is now running for county commissioner. We did screen one other candidate, Don Schaefer, but it was Carolyn recommendation of the screening committee that Carolyn Rice received the endorsement of the Montgomery County Democratic Party for the county commission seat.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Same issue. Other counties do not endorse in primaries. I like Carolyn. I think she's great. I think her record speaks for itself. It's our job to elect Democrats, not to pick them in primaries.
There's a motion. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right, congratulations, Carolyn.
Thank you so much. Montgomery County needs leadership for the future that puts our families, workers, and children first. That's why I'm running for county commissioner, to help develop creative solutions and ensure that our county is prepared for a bright and prosperous future. It is certainly my great honor to receive the endorsement of the Montgomery County Democratic Party. With your help, we are going to keep the county commission seat Democratic in 2018. Years, I've been on the job tackling some of the county's biggest problems as your county treasurer. I work with an amazing team of professionals, and together we have improved the collection of taxes that fund the work of schools and local government. We have helped citizens struggling with financial burdens find their way. And through the creation of the Montgomery County Land Bank, which I helped found, we have generated more than $25 million in investments in our neighborhoods and begun tackling the blight crisis. For the past 30 years, I've worked in business, education, and government. I've seen what it takes for businesses to flourish and to create jobs. I've educated our students as a public school teacher, and I've helped adult students reinvent their careers. I've been a faithful public servant as your treasurer. All of these experiences not only set me apart from the other commission candidates, but I believe my skills and experiences have prepared me well to be the next county commissioner ready to tackle the tough issues that our county faces. So I'm ready for the future that our community deserves. I will fight for it. And with your help, I'm going to win in November and get to work next January. Now I'm going to put in a plug for myself. One quick way you can help me this very single moment is if you're not already following me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, please do that. That's a simple thing, it really, really helps. And the next 229 days will be certainly exciting. And I look forward to having you along with me for this great adventure. Once again, like everyone else, you know that I've started my whole political activism with this group, and it's been a wonderful journey already, but I'm ready for the next chapter. I can only do it with all of your help. Thank you, and I'm honored.
Thank you, Carolyn. Well, as you may know, Joey Williams resigned a couple weeks ago. Well, I guess it's been about almost a month ago. As a result, the city is required to have a special election to fill that seat, and it will be held on May 8th. So this isn't really a primary, this is actually for an election. We screened 2 people. We did screen Darrell Ward, Reverend Darrell Ward. I think Darrell's here. Is that correct, Darrell? Yeah. And we also screened Darrell Fairchild. Is Darrell Fairchild here as well? They both came in and talked to us, talked about what their plans for the city are. After much discussion, there was a recommendation of the screening committee that Darrell Ward receive the endorsement of the Montgomery County Democratic Party.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Once again, same issue. You got 2 Democrats. We win if either one of them gets elected. I don't see a reason that we endorse.
Tom?
Mr. Chairman, you know, the people in this room are probably tired of hearing this, but that's our responsibility. And people who don't want to take responsibility and step up shouldn't participate. They shouldn't be here. You know, folks should do the things they think is right. And electing Reverend Ward is the right thing to do. Here's a man that's ministered in this community, who's worked in this community, who lives in this community, and he goes everywhere. Now, anyone that's been out and working will see Reverend Ward. He's not a person that's he's not scared to step up and take the issues on. And this committee has a responsibility to make sure that we elect good Democrats and not sit on our hands and let the Republicans sneak in and take the damn seats because we don't want to get involved. I think that we need to work hard to make sure that we elect Reverend Ward and all the other candidates that this committee recommends to the community tonight.
I do have one comment, and that comment is simply that having a competitive primary process will only improve the Democrats who are running against the Republican candidates. I just wanted to say that. You polish yourself, you prove yourself, you say the right statements, and people vote for you. So I actually do agree with Esrati on this particular point. We can do better and be more competitive in these elections if there is a competitive process in the primary. That's my opinion.
Any other comments, discussion? Yes.
Hi. Yes. Thank you for sharing some of the reasons for the steering committee's choice. Were there particular policies or positions that you felt Reverend Ward actually represented better than Reverend Fairchild? I personally have been very impressed with Reverend Fairchild and have been following him through both the last election and this one. So I would be interested to hear kind of where the positions were that you felt really sold Reverend Ward to the body here. If you could help, that would be great. Thank you.
I'd be glad to talk to you after the committee.
Well, one of the, they both had very, some similar ideas, but one of the things that we looked at was what they have done to accomplish those ideas. Reverend Ward, through the Mega Baptist Church, created a CDC through his church that has invested for the past 20 years into neighborhoods. They helped through that, have created jobs, improved the neighborhood surrounding the church, and we're members of the church. They've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in the community, and he's actually done that without being a commissioner. And we were all very impressed with that because he's actually taken his words and his actions, and words and his beliefs, and put them into action for the CDC. It's been a tremendous thing for the Dayton community, particularly the West Dayton community, and that was probably one of the big deciding factors, is he's actually put his action to words, or words to action.
Thank you.
Call a question. Okay, all in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Right. The ayes have it. Reverend Ward, you want to say anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, party friends. About 40 years ago, I went to law school in Washington, D.C. As a young person, my plans were to go to the seat of power. Actually, the seat of power is here, but what I perceived as the seat of power, and to learn how it worked, because I thought that being a part of the political system was a way to get things done. And while there, God said to me, no, I want you to be a pastor. And so I finished my law degree, passed the Ohio State Bar, but I came to Dayton to be a pastor. Started with 50 people. We just began to work. And the combination of law and theology did make a difference, because my central concern is the community that we serve, to make a difference, to help people get jobs, and help families sustain themselves. And I am honored by your support of me, and we've got an election, and I'm honored to be selected by you as your champion in the fight. And what I promise you is that I will fight. I will fight for the citizens of this community, and I'm proud to be a Democrat, and I'm proud to be a member of the Montgomery Valley Democratic Association.
And finally, we screened in the 10th Congressional District in here. We screened, is Robert Clevenger? Robert, are you here? Mike Millicents, I think he's here. Mike, where are you at? Right? And then Teresa Gasker, I believe I saw Teresa earlier. Teresa, there you are. We screened. We had actually 2 nights of screening on that one because we couldn't get all the candidates here at once. We had a very lively discussion. We have some very good candidates in the race that we're screening. And in that race, we frankly could not come to a consensus on one candidate or the other. So it was a recommendation of the screening committee that we not make an endorsement at this time. I don't know that we need a motion on that. It was basically the recommendation is that since we couldn't come to a consensus, there was no recommendation. So is there any discussion on it, or hearing none? That was the end of the screening committee report. So thank you very much for your time, and congratulations. While they're here, Teresa and or Mike, you want to say anything, Teresa, Mike, to the group? All right, Mike.
Pleasure to talk to you all. This is definitely an interesting year for this race. This seems like we have the first chance in a long time to really take down Mike Turner. And I think that honestly, we have potential to reshape the way that Congress looks in a lot of ways this year. 2018 is a really exciting year because we see people who have never even considered the prospect of running for office all over the country, standing up and answering the call to serve. And not all of them are going to win, but I think we're going to get enough of them to win that we're actually going to be able to start to make a huge dent in the stalemate that's going on in Washington. Because the reality is that the corruption has infected both sides. Both parties are answerable only to money in Washington. We had great crimes committed by the last Republican president that were not punished, which would have honestly been great politics, not just the right thing to do, but politically. We would not have lost in 2010 if we would have just prosecuted, if we would have upheld our international agreements. We would have been able to power through the Obama presidency with a progressive agenda that would have actually helped the American people in a way that I don't think anybody else has really thought possible. And I think that that's what we're doing now, is now it's time to really look at our Congress and say, you have done nothing forever. They finally passed a budget. They didn't even get health care put in there to make the insurance companies whole if they pass this budget. I think that people like me are the type of candidates that we need to send to Washington because we're not beholden to large special interests. We're not beholden to Washington consultants. We're beholden to the people that send us there. And I want to be sent to Washington, D.C. to represent this district because I believe that at our most fundamental core, we are a nation of laws, and we need to use those laws to make sure that criminals are held accountable and that people are not suffering. Because I travel this district as a technician for a communications company. I travel this district every day, all over, in all areas of this town. And I see people suffering everywhere. It's because of health care. It's because of no savings for retirement. And it's because they're working 2 jobs, 3 jobs for minimum wage and still can't get by. So those are the issues that I think matter to people. They're kitchen table issues that are really going to matter to all voters. Everybody is being affected by one of those issues right now. So I ask, as we move forward here, this is the year, 2018. We're going to make some motion. We're going to make waves. I mean, it's potentially going to turn into a tsunami. So whoever wins this race in the primary, I ask that you step in and support them and give them the energy they need to remove Mike Turner, because this is the year we're going to do it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Move this up a little bit. Yeah. The tall one always has to worry about this. Here we go. My name is Teresa Gasper. I've got very deep roots in this community. A lot of you know my work in South Park. I'm the 4th of 5 generations there. And hi Mike, didn't see you there. I think my work in South Park speaks volumes for what I've been able to accomplish. I am used to obstacles. My senior year, both of my parents lost their jobs, so I was not able to go to college. And I always grew up wanting to be a secretary. Instead, I ended up buying a secretarial service and growing it into Dayton's largest executive suite. In the first 5 years alone, my clients went on to take on over 300,000 square feet of office space and create hundreds of jobs. So I'm very proud of my past. I love this community. I'm tired of seeing a lot of people in it struggling. We have a lot of people in this town that are used to earning $30 an hour at GM, and now they're making $12 or $14 a foodie hour. And that's not because they suddenly became lazy. It's because conditions around them are changing, and we need to adapt. We have a congressman right now who is absent unless it's a photo op or a fundraiser, and he does not care about this community. People in this community feel like if they're not part of Wright-Patterson, they don't matter. And we've got to get beyond either or and make it both and. For Wright Pat or Premier or Kettering or any other employer in this town to attract the talent they need, we need a vibrant community that is thriving, not struggling to survive. I believe I am the best candidate in this race. I believe the only thing standing between Mike Turner's 8th and 9th term is yours truly, with your help. And I hope you'll give it to me in May, and I hope you'll give it to me in November, and I would promise you I'll be giving you all the help you need beyond in January. Thank
you. Jan Underwood has come in. Jan, we did already endorse issue 1, but if you want to say a few words about it briefly, we'd welcome that. Jan? Again, Jan has been our kind of lead on the gerrymandering issues in Ohio for the past years. Jan?
Thanks to everybody who helped circulate petitions, everybody who signed a petition. It was because of you that we got issue 1 on the ballot. It's going to be on. The big surprise is that instead of being on the November ballot, it's going to be on the May ballot. So we have very little time to get the job done, to get people to know that they need to vote for issue 1 on May 8th. So I'm hoping that I can get the help of everyone in this room to get the word out on that. And we just need to get it done. So I appreciate it. See me if you want to help in any way. We're going to be doing leafleting, and we're going to need to raise some money to get some yard signs out. And we've got a lot of, we need to get some media exposure, because people just don't know that it's happening. But with your help, we'll let them know, and we'll get it done. Vote yes on issue 1. Thank you.
Huber Heights, Sina, do you have anything to report on Huber Heights Club?
I was hoping to be able to introduce the person that I think will be the next president of the Huber Heights Democratic Club. I do have someone who has stepped forward and thinks she will bring a team to take over, because most of us are worn out and have other obligations. But I think she's younger, she has a different network of associates, and hopefully with the ones, the old ones that we've got and what she can bring, I think will, reactivate the club. So at the next meeting that we have, I hope I'll be introducing her. She had a previous engagement that she couldn't reschedule tonight.
Hi, I'm Dawn Wojcik. I'm with the Northwest Democratic Club, and I want to say thank you to all of you who came to our March meeting, especially the Democrats who came, but those of you who are candidates who came, you were the reason that the members came. They were glad to see you, to have the chance to get to know you better, and our goal is to help get them engaged so that we help elect you. So thank you for your support of our club in that way. Our next meeting, Sarah, my apologies, I think I forgot to tell you this, is not, in the most recent mailing, you may have seen that there's going to be a meeting on April 8th in the Northwest Democrats. No, we will not be having one then. We are having our annual donkey auction, where we're going to have all kinds of really cool things to auction off to raise money for our PAC, which is where we get money to elect Democrats to office. And so we invite anyone, whether you're north, south, east, west, up, down, green, blue, come to the Northwest Democratic Club auction, help build our PAC. One of our members has found some really cool antique Dachshund bookends, and they are really cool, and I'm gonna spend some real money, because if I can't get them, you're gonna pay for them. There will also be some political paraphernalia and exciting things here, so I hope you'll be able to come. We provide, it's April 22nd, 5 p.m., we provide an entree, and we ask you to bring something to carry in, and then something to auction off. So it can be something as exciting as the Docs and Bookends, or it can be a Mad magazine from 1973 that you've been trying to figure out something to do with. So just make it fun for us. So April 22nd, and I need to say a deep thanks to the Jefferson Township Democratic Club. That club came to a very difficult decision that they were not able to hold it together anymore. And so they have opted to join the Northwest Democrats. And so if you have been accustomed to or interested in participating in the Jefferson Township Democratic Club, you are more than welcome. In fact, really, Northwest is anything that is, well, in the area, and you're a Democrat and you want to come learn something more about being a Democrat. And you can be dues paying or not. We like you to come, and we like to help feed you at our auction on April 22nd. And we hope you bring something tasty that we can go, can we have that recipe? And thank you very much.
John, are you going to report?
I'm sorry.
Good evening, everybody. The South Dayton Democratic Club is continuing to bring candidates in front of the club. Last night, we had Brandon McLean. We had Mary Montgomery, one of our judicial candidates. We had Paul Bradley, and we had John McManus, okay? And we will continue to start bringing our candidates there just to give them exposure to people, and it does draw a crowd. We've had good attendance over the last several months. And I just want to mention the fact that this is the first year for Frolics that we are able to purchase 2 tables. I was impressed with that. And our picnic is going to be held on June 10th at Delco Park, shelter number 2. Everybody is invited. We hope to see a lot of candidates there, and it's usually a good time. Okay.
Mike, Jim Dems.
Hey, I'm Mike Burrell, president of the Young Dems. We do not have an auction coming up with any fancy bookends. We have been doing some pretty cool stuff. Beginning of February, we had a candidate meet and greet, and I'd like to thank all the candidates who came out. I think we had nearly every candidate who's running for office in Montgomery County show up, so we really appreciate your all support in that, as well as the many others who came out and attended. We also had a membership drive earlier in March. We actually had quite a few new members show up, like my friend Brandon back there, who's brand new to the Young Dems. And then also earlier in March, we all attended the Ohio Young Democrats meeting in Cincinnati. We had a great showing for that. I think we really showed our club well. We brought 17 people there down to that meeting, which is pretty good. Columbus didn't have that many, so it was great. And then 2 other things real quick. We started an e-newsletter led by our second vice president, Tristina Allen. So if you're a member of the Central Committee, you got on that list. Congratulations. So if you do happen to miss a Central Committee meeting, you'll get all our details right in your inbox. It'll be great. So, and then finally, our next meeting and election will be Friday, April 6th. So thanks.
Just a reminder, our major fundraiser's coming up in about 10 days. Our Frolic for Funds. We have, that is what keeps us going every year. Tickets are going well, but we still have some available. Hopefully have another 500 folks there. We've invited the state ticket to come and have it part of the 5 o'clock meet and greet. And our main speaker will be Mitch Landrieu, who is the mayor of New Orleans. He has written a book recently that I think we're going to be able to auction off. We're having a silent auction that he's going to sign one of his books, and we'll have many other things. I know that some folks are giving some political items to auction off. But Mitch, for those who don't know, this book is about the tearing down of Confederate statues. I think they were the first city in the South that did that. And it was his, he calls it living under the shadows. I think it's something close to that. And it's very, it will be a very good speech, I think, from the mayor of New Orleans. So we look forward to having you all there. And speaking of our statewide ticket, we do have as our main speaker tonight, a former congressman down in Southeast Ohio, and our current candidate for state auditor, Zach Space. Zach is, again, it's an important position. Even though we hope to pass issue 1, the state auditor still has a very major role to play in the redistricting of both the Congress and for the state house. And so it's really important that he go elect, among other things. Hopefully he won't take money from places like ECHA and then try to audit them as well. So Zach Space, our next state auditor.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First of all, I have to comment about the outstanding slate of candidates. And it says something when you have the quality that you have in these state legislative districts stepping up. Very impressive. And I think the chairman said it best when he was here in Montgomery County a few days ago. This support from the bottom of the ticket is just as important as it is from the top. So the quality up and down the line here in Montgomery County, so congratulations. So, all right, I'm running for auditor. My name is Zach Space, and I want you all to look at that flag right there for just a moment. So I want you to think about what that flag means to you. Think about it for a minute while I put this down, because I'm going to get rid of this mic. It's a distraction. What does that flag mean to you? Here's what it means to me. My grandfather came from another country, a country that was under oppression, and he endured a lifetime of poverty here for that flag and what it represents. He came here because of the freedom of this democracy, which has for over 200 years been a beacon for the rest of the world. When our Constitution was ratified, there wasn't a democracy anywhere else on the planet. And today, billions of people live in a democracy. Immeasurable improvement for mankind. What we have done. It's time for us to have an honest conversation about what's happened to our democracy in this country. Our democracy has been compromised and perverted by the forces of money and political ambition. Amen. And it has to stop, because if it doesn't, there will be another Donald Trump. Because when Donald Trump came to this country, came to this state, and made his argument to become president, the most compelling argument he had was that the system is rigged. The system is rigged. And we damn well better do something about it. This may be our last chance. I'm running for auditor because the auditor can do something about this. The auditor sits on the apportionment board, now known as the redistricting committee. The auditor will be at the table when those lines are drawn, and your next auditor can be a part of a process that ends gerrymandering, a way that our democracy has been rigged now for 3 decades. And the consequences are extreme. The only consideration that has been put into how these lines have been drawn now for a generation has been, how can one party obtain political advantage over another without any regard for what it means, how it divides us, how it disenfranchises us, and how it renders government dysfunctional, and how it gives people a reason not to believe in democracy. In Columbus today, and yesterday, and last week, and last month, and every day, money is dictating policy. ECOT, your public schools, not sacred, pay to play. Payday lending, the poor and their manipulation, not sacred, pay to play. Private prisons, pay to play. The auditor can do something about this too. I intend to shine a light on the corruptive influence of money on process. I can't change the law. Every Ohioan has a right to know what money is doing to their democracy. All of us, as Democrats, aspire to social justice. This is why we're Democrats. Justice when it comes to accessing a quality public education, justice when it comes to accessing affordable health care, justice when it comes to opportunity, racial justice, gender justice. All these things fall under the ambit of social justice. But without political justice, none of it happens. This may be our last chance. We have a great ticket. Steve Dettelbach, if you haven't met him, you got to get to know this guy for Attorney General. Kathleen Clyde for Secretary of State, who will be at that redistricting table with me. Rob Richardson, down in Cincinnati, a terrific candidate for treasurer. All of us need your help. And you can help us with your donations. You can help us by getting on our social media, ZachSpaceForOhio.com, by the way. Follow us, like us, share our message with your community. And let's begin the process of fixing this broken process so we can go about the process of tackling these profound challenges that we face. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. And again, it's so important that he and the other folks on the statewide ticket get elected this year, because you know, this didn't happen for the last 8 years. They've had control of the state for 24 of the last 28 years, 40 of the last 52 years. That's why we're in the shape we're in. That's why we're all the problems we have. The only way to do it is to get these guys elected. So thank you. I'd like to make a few announcements of other candidates, elected officials that are here. And I know that there's a big crowd here, and I'm going to miss some of you here. So I'm going to go across the aisle here. I see Mayor Nahuel is here, Big City. Mayor Nahuel. Mayor Riverside, Bill Cloudy. Johnson Reinhardt of the Big City School Board. Johnson. Candidate for the 42nd House District, Zach Dickerson. Zach? Ken Kirk with the Riverside Council. Ken? Sarah Lyon, Riverside Council. Jeff Mimps, the Big City Commission. We already met Dan Foley, but you can wave again, Dan. Chris Shaw from Big City Commission. Chris Shaw. Ross Joseph, clerk of courts and county clerk of courts. Carl Keys, the county auditor and county attorney.
Brenda Fry.
Brenda, I'm sorry, Brenda. Report. Ryan Taylor, I believe you're in the 40th House District of County, correct, Ryan? Tom Griggs, 40th House District, County. Oh, I see Gerald Parker for candidate for the Montgomery County Common Police Court. Gerald. Helen Wallace, candidate for the Court. Now, are there any other candidates that I've missed? All right. Any comments from yes?
If you really liked hearing what Zach Space had to say tonight, you can come to a fundraiser for him on April 19th. We'll be hosting it. We'll make sure that you get the invite, but you all will be invited. Hope you'll come.
Derek, did you have your hand up? Huh? Derek Ford, did you want to say something?